You are doing something 600 million years old, not metaphorically, literally. The way humans do it today looks nothing like where it started. Sex stopped being just biology somewhere along the way. It became emotional, personal, sacred, controlled, and the complete story has never been told properly. Until now. But first, I need to tell you one thing. The rules around sex that most people call natural invented 10,000 years ago. Not by love, not by biology, by lawyers. I will come back to that. First, you need to understand where this whole thing actually began. 600 million years ago, sex did not exist. Life existed, but it reproduced by splitting in half. One cell became two identical cells. No partner, no attraction, nothing. Just endless copying of the same thing. For 3 billion years, that was all life did. Then, something happened by accident. Two cells merged their material instead of splitting. The result was different from both of them. More adaptable, harder to kill, more unpredictable. When the environment changed, the mixed ones survived. The copies died. Evolution noticed immediately. Sexual reproduction spread across every complex living thing on Earth, not because it felt good, because it created variety, and variety survived everything the world threw at it. Sex was not invented for pleasure. Sex was invented as a survival weapon. Everything else came much later. Now, go forward to 200,000 years ago. You are a young human on the African savanna at night. Your group is 12 people around a small fire. Last night, something took a person from the edge of camp. 3 people in your group did not survive last winter. The fire is the only thing keeping the darkness back. Across the fire, someone catches your eye. Your body changes before your brain understands why. Your heart moves. Your pupils dilate. Your palms go warm. You feel pulled toward that person without choosing to be. That pull is not romance. That is your body running its oldest survival program. Find a strong partner, reproduce, keep the line alive. But here is what sex actually looked like back then. Nothing like what you know today. Nothing at all. Anthropologist Christopher Ryan spent 15 years studying early human sexuality. He used bones, primate behavior, living cultures, genetic data. His conclusion made many people very uncomfortable. Early humans were not monogamous. Early human groups were sexually open and communal, multiple partners, children raised by the whole group, no single man owning any single woman. This was not disorder. This was survival engineering at its most effective. If one man died, another was already bonded to those children. Every man protected every child. The whole group survived together or not at all. Your body still carries this evidence inside it, right now. Here is the evidence nobody teaches clearly. Gorillas live with one dominant male and many females. Strict, controlled, one male, no competition between males at all. Chimpanzees live in open groups with many males, high competition, many partners, bodies built entirely around biological rivalry. Humans sit almost exactly between those two species biologically, not at the gorilla end where strict monogamy would place us, right in the middle. Your body carries the record of how your ancestors actually lived. It does not match the story most people were taught. But something was shifting inside the human brain through all of this. The brain was getting larger, more complex, more emotional. Around 100,000 years ago, it crossed a line. It developed the ability to remember one specific person, to miss them when they were gone, to want that person and nobody else for reasons beyond logic. Sex had always been physical. Now, for the first time, it became personal. A man and a woman began choosing each other specifically, not just any warm body, that one, that particular laugh, that exact smell, that one familiar warmth. They started sleeping close, not just for heat, but for comfort, touching not just to reproduce, but to feel something real, staying the morning after because something inside them wanted to stay. The first real human intimacy was forming in the dark. 2 specific people choosing each other with no law telling them to, no religion, no rule, no reason that made any logical sense, just choosing. But something else was happening between those 2 people in the dark, something that had never existed before in the history of life. Tenderness.
the gentle tracing of a hand along someone's arm after intimacy, the act of pulling someone closer when sleep came, the strange new feeling of not wanting to leave. These were not survival behaviors. These were the first completely unnecessary human acts. Unnecessary by survival logic, but they happened anyway, because something new had entered the world, something biology had never programmed for and had no name for yet.
We know this bond became real because of what people buried. In 2004, archaeologists opened a grave in Mantua in northern Italy, 5,000 years old. 2 skeletons inside, face to face, arms wrapped around each other completely, foreheads almost touching, dead for 5,000 years and still holding on. The archaeologist Elena Menotti, who found them, stood there unable to speak. This was not survival strategy in that grave. This was 2 people refusing to enter death apart. The physical act created something biology never designed, real love between 2 specific, irreplaceable people. Now, the thing I promised you at the very start. For most of human existence, sex was open and communal. The Hadza of Tanzania, one of Earth's oldest cultures, still show this. Then 10,000 years ago, everything changed almost overnight. Humans stopped wandering and started owning land, and land created a problem that never existed before. Who gets this land when I die? That question needed a legal answer. That answer required knowing exactly which children were yours, and knowing that required controlling who women slept with, completely, permanently. Anthropologist Christopher Bohm studied this exact shift for many years. His finding is not comfortable to hear. Sexual exclusivity was invented by property law. One woman belonging to one man was a legal and economic decision. Religion made it feel sacred afterward. Culture made it feel natural and normal afterward. But at its root, it was about land and who inherits it, not about love. The enforcement of these new rules was brutal everywhere on Earth. Laws from around 1750 BCE punished women for this with death. The same laws said nothing about men doing the same thing. Roman law let a husband legally kill his wife for this. The same law fully protected the husband. This pattern repeated across nearly every civilization on Earth, every single one tracing back to the same original root: land, inheritance, property. Control of sex was always control of property, dressed up as morality, but always about ownership. But here is what none of those laws could ever touch. In Shanidar Cave in Iraq, archaeologists found an ancient skeleton, withered right arm from childhood, partial blindness, broken bones throughout his body. 40 was very old for that world. 40 was remarkable. He could not hunt, could not gather, could not protect anyone. By cold logic, he should have been left behind years earlier. But someone fed him. Year after year, someone chose to stay and keep him alive. Not because a law required it, not because property demanded it, because they chose him. That pull toward one specific person beyond all survival logic, that was never invented by any civilization anywhere on Earth. That existed before civilization had a name for itself. It is the oldest and most real thing in this entire story.
So here is the true history of human sex. It began as a biological accident 600 million years ago. It worked so well that almost every living thing adopted it. Early humans practiced it in ways nothing like today: open, shared, communal, free. The brain grew large enough to attach feeling to the physical act. 2 people in the dark started meaning something biology never planned for. Then civilizations built laws around all of it, and those laws were almost always about property, not love. But underneath every single law, one thing survived completely unchanged: the pull toward one specific person. That laugh, that voice, that warmth, that smell. Never invented, never legislated, never taught. It was just there, before the cities, before the laws, before every religion ever written. It is still there now, inside you, right now. That is where sex actually started. Not in a law, not in a church, not in a rule. in two people choosing each other in the dark. 600 million years of life on Earth led to that moment, and it is still leading there today. Every single day, in every single person who has ever felt that pull, including you, right now.
A ring, a ceremony, a signature on paper. We treat marriage as something ancient, almost instinctive, as old as love itself. It isn't. And the real story is stranger than the one we were told. Most people assume marriage has always meant the same thing. Two people choosing each other bound by love. That's a very recent idea. For most of recorded history, marriage functioned primarily as an economic and political contract, a way to merge property, secure alliances, transfer wealth, and produce heirs. Historians studying marriage across cultures have found that the expectation of romantic love as marriage's central purpose barely appears before the last few centuries. Before that, love was, at best, a fortunate accident, something that might grow after the contract was signed, not the reason for signing it. Even the structure we assume is universal, one man, one woman, isn't. Anthropological surveys of documented human societies have found that a majority historically permitted or practiced some form of polygamy, not monogamy. The nuclear, romantic, two-person marriage many assume is traditional is, on a global historical scale, closer to a minority arrangement. What changed was not human nature, it was economics. As industrialization moved work outside the household and individual wage labor replaced family-based production, marriage slowly shifted from a survival contract into a personal choice. Something entered for companionship, not necessity. We tend to think we've discovered the true version of marriage, the one our ancestors were somehow missing. The evidence suggests the opposite. What we call traditional marriage is one of the newest arrangements our species has tried. Built not on ancient instinct, but on a very modern freedom our ancestors rarely had. The freedom to choose for love alone.